I'm starting this with an apology. I noticed a buzz on my audio, and I've been spending the whole morning trying to do something about it, and I thought I'd got it fixed, and indeed the first part of this video, the audio's fine, and then for some reason the audio's gone again. I have no idea what's going on. I'll have to try doing some more work on it, but meanwhile, well, I hope that you can manage to listen to this video without getting too much put off by the buzz, which turns up about halfway through. Okay, on with the show. Hello. In the same week that a Muslim member of parliament proposed that the state should enforce a law protecting the Quran, another Muslim MP is arguing that the state should not enforce a law forbidding cousin marriages. Now, that isn't quite as bad as it sounds, because although the state appears to be very willing to enforce any law that might be passed that would give superior status to the Quran, forbidding cousin marriages will go exactly the same way as the law we already have, which prohibits bigamous marriages in this country. In other words, it will be known about and unenforced. And I'll explain why when I've told you that I'm Granniopteryx and I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Right, well, just as a matter of interest, I want to show you how much interest our lawmakers have in the idea of dealing with cousin marriage. This is the debating chamber of the House of Commons during the debate when the idea of a cousin marriage ban was mooted and then was spoken against by a Muslim MP. That's this. Now, I want to show you what the House of Commons looked like when a Muslim MP proposed a law that would protect the Quran. Quite a difference, isn't there? All right, let's get back to this whole thing about consanguinity. Right, so this is the Independent, and I chose the Independent because I want to prove to you that it's right-on leftward papers who are making much of this, as much as the Conservative MP who proposed the cousin marriage ban. London Borough finds 1 in 5 child deaths caused by parents being related. Oh, look, I have a really awful photograph of some children, well, they're not really children anymore, of some youngish people who are the victims of generational cousin marriage and have serious chromosomal damage. If this is a very disturbing and unpleasant picture, and you might not want to see it, but I'm going to put it up now. I'm just warning you. Right, this is a whole family. There are 4 boys there. I don't know whether they have any more children who are more or less normal. But these aren't children anymore. This guy has a beard. The parents look quite upset about this. And it's not entirely their fault, because their families arranged their marriage. You see, the Western idea of mating is to allow young people to sort of find their own level. This ensures a certain robustness of chaos. But in Muslim societies, generally, there is no opportunity for young people of opposite sexes to meet each other. In fact, they would be severely punished if they did meet each other without a parental blessing. So the family chooses the mate, and they do that not on a basis of genetic match or whatever, but on a basis of family consolidation of wealth. So the result is that the families inbreed again and again and again. Now, I'm quite sure that many of you know about what's known as the Habsburg jaw, or the Habsburg lip. This is Charles II of Spain, the last Habsburg member of the Habsburg dynasty, and it's a very flattering picture, because I'm quite sure that nobody with any sense would have let Charles II of Spain anywhere near a gun. He was not only mentally disabled and physically disfigured, but he was also most likely psychiatrically ill as well. And as end of the line for the Habsburgs. So it's not just something that happens in Muslim societies, but the fact is, in our country, it happens in Muslim societies, specifically in Pakistani Muslim societies.
And let me tell you, on the ward in Newham Hospital, it was full of children with mental or physical disorders from first cousin marriages, many of whom were 2 years old and had never been home. They were on an NHS ward being cared for by NHS doctors and nurses. The family would come to visit and go home and make more children with more disabilities, because they won't accept that it's because they've married a first cousin. They say it's God's will.
As I said, a Conservative MP called Richard Holden suggested that they should make a law forbidding cousin marriages. It's a great idea, but there's just one small problem with that. In most cases, it won't work. And it won't work for the following reason. Well, first of all, let's just go back to the 1920s when the United States tried prohibition, which also was one of those naive ideas that if you make it illegal, people will stop doing it. It doesn't work like that. People don't stop doing things just because they've been made illegal. Now, let's see what this MP has to say.
There are documented health risks with first cousin marriage, and I agree this is an issue. This is an issue that needs greater awareness on. Virginity testing, forced marriages, and the freedom of women must be forced marriage must be prevented, and the freedom of women must be protected at all times.
So what he's suggesting here, although I doubt he'd stand for it in his own family, is that girls be allowed to go out and mix with whomever they please. I'm quite sure he wouldn't feel the same way if one of his daughters did that. But he's saying all the right things, and he hints at even righter things. Let's carry on.
However, the way to redress this is not to empower the state to ban adults from marrying each other, not least because I don't think it would be effective or enforceable.
And he's right. And the reason we know it's not enforceable is to do with the marriage laws. Now, as you know, it is illegal for a man to marry more than one wife, more than one woman in this country. It's called bigamy. It's against the law. And yet there are Muslim communities that practice polygamy all the time. It works not only in an illegal way, but to the advantage of the Muslim community. A Pakistani man may marry one woman and register that with the marriage registry. So he's married to Fatima. And then he contracts a marriage with another, possibly younger wife. Let's call her Khadija. He can't marry her legally, but he does marry her in a Muslim ceremony. And because the community is small and self-contained, everybody acknowledges that Khadija is married to Ahmed. That is one part of breaking the law. Then there's another part. Khadija then gets pregnant and turns up at the social services department in full Islamic dress, maybe with or maybe without the veil, and tells them that she is a single mother pregnant with a child she conceived after a fling at a nightclub. Most of my viewers here will not believe that story, and neither do the people in the social services. However, they are too lazy and too much afraid of being labelled racist to say anything about it. So they register as an unwed mother, and he mentions this in passing during his speech. Good for him. She registers as an unwed mother, and not only does Ahmed get his second wife, the second wife is maintained at the expense of you and me. How about that? It's fraud on the social services, and it's bigamy, both against the law of the land. Are they enforced? Are our prisons filled with fraudulent single mother, second wives, third wives, fourth wives, and Ahmed? Not bloody likely. It's against the law to threaten the lives of teachers who discuss Muhammad in a religious education lesson. I haven't noticed anyone being prosecuted for that. It's illegal to stand with a placard saying behead infidels or behead those who insult the Prophet, which I suppose you could call incitement. I haven't noticed those people being hauled off to jail. It's illegal to punch policemen or police women in an airport. Well, it's illegal to go through Golders Green in a car with a tannoy saying rape Jewish daughters. So why would making cousin marriages, if made illegal, why would they be enforced any more than all these other laws I just mentioned? And that's what he's arguing about. Now, I've heard GB News say he's justifying cousin marriages. Actually, he isn't. He's saying it's bad. He's saying it needs control. But he's also saying it's unenforceable. And it's unenforceable. He is not saying what I'm saying. But he knows exactly what he's talking about. And what he's talking about is what I'm saying. All right, let's listen to some more of what he says.
Instead, the matter needs to be approached as a health awareness issue and a cultural issue. Why the practice continues to be so widespread.
So he's saying we should understand why it's happening. Yeah, well, frankly, I don't care why it's happening. I want it to stop. But it won't stop unless our government are prepared to prosecute the laws that are already being broken by the Muslim community in our cities. Now, I'm not saying non-Muslims are sinless and don't commit crimes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that these Muslim communities have formed their own legal system and are saying to hell with our legal system because we are nasr, unclean, and not to be given any account. I saw an email, I'm sorry, I can't find it, not an email, a tweet or an X from a Muslim woman who was showing a video of some half-cut young women in very short skirts and impossibly high heels staggering out of some nightclub. And she was saying, why would we want to integrate with people like that? I even made a video about it some time ago. And I said in that video, people like that, they have jobs, they pay taxes. And the joke was, somebody said, well, if you don't like it, why aren't you back in Pakistan? And this woman responded to that tweet, that response to her tweet. She said, well, I can't because the council have given me a house for me and my son. So she's only too happy to accept maintenance and sustenance from this state, but she has no respect for it whatsoever. And those young women in the short skirts and the alcoholic haze, they go back to work on Monday in their, well, I doubt any of them are doctors or nuclear scientists, but they've certainly got jobs in offices or supermarkets or somewhere like that, and they are paying taxes which are supporting her and her son. And she says her and her son, no husband. So it's quite possible that the woman who said that is a second wife and is defrauding the state. But she has no problem with actually putting that on X because she has such contempt for the whole system. Right, let's hear the rest of Mr. Mohammed's speech, or some of it.
An estimated 35 to 50% of all sub-Saharan African populations.
So, hang on a minute, I'm going to cut out a bit of this because I know he goes through all the different societies that accept cousin marriages. It's not important. I don't care if the entire world does it. We're talking here about the UK. And they're all Muslim societies, and they are all quite low IQ. You lose 10 points for every cousin marriage in every generation. It's not going to take very much to reduce your population, if they keep on doing that, to a level of about 70, which is the sort of intelligence of an Alsatian. German Shepherd. They used to be Alsatians when I was a kid. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead a bit now. Here, and this is when lots of people are saying he's justifying it because it improves family connections. No, he's saying that's how people in the Muslim world see it. There's a slight difference.
This is so common, is that ordinary people see family intermarriage overall as something that is very positive, something that helps build family bonds and helps put families on a more secure financial foothold.
Oh, as I said, it's a financial thing.
A much more positive approach would be to facilitate advanced genetic test screening for...
Of course, the advanced genetic test screening would be paid for by the state. Oh, what a surprise. It's not quite the state though, is it? It's you and me, right? But he's got a point, because you're not going to stop the cousin marriages.
I would therefore urge the House to vote against this motion and to find a more positive approach to addressing the issues that are caused by first cousin marriages.
Right, and just for fun, I'm now going to play that speech by the Labour MP who wanted the state to intervene in the matter of the Quran, if I can find it.
Year, the United Nations Human Rights Council adopted a resolution condemning the desecration of religious texts, including the Quran, despite opposition from the previous government.
Well, that's one good thing that the previous government did.
Acts of such mindless desecration only serve to fuel division and hatred within our society.
I'm sorry to say that the only thing that fuels division and hatred in our society is the appearance of large groups of people outside a Batley grammar school threatening to, do something terminal to the teacher, who is still 4 years later in hiding. So don't give me that guff about division and fueling division and hatred. Okay. The only time our government seems interested in enforcing the law is when it's white working class people doing it. But just to finish, they say 1 in 5 child deaths in an East London borough have occurred because the mother and father are related. Redbridge Council found deaths of children from parents who were known consanguineous couples accounted for 19% of 124 cases reviewed in the borough between 2008 and 2016. So this is almost 10 years ago when they were reviewing this. And it's only just coming up now. And as I said, this guy here, he's not justifying cousin marriages. He is saying they happen, which is true. And he's saying it's unenforceable. Where he is being dishonest is in not saying why it's unenforceable. It's unenforceable because we have areas of our country which are outside our laws. And until our government decides to crack down on things like bigamy and social service fraud and violence, violence, hang on a minute. How about this? People ask, does inbreeding cause aggression? Well, it causes reduced lifespan. I mean, those kids you saw in that photo, they won't live to a ripe old age, will they? It causes behavioural problems and low IQ, I've already said that, and difficulty in training, it means you can't teach them, to spontaneous aggression. Now, the fact is that a lot of Muslim societies are very aggressive societies, and I don't know whether that's cause or effect, but they do a lot of inbreeding as well. And it's because of their violence that our government refuses to do anything about it. So when you see groups of Muslims being aggressive, the police tend to arrest the people to whom they are being aggressive. The groups, not the police. This guy is right, but he's not right for the reason that he's giving. I mean, he's talking about it as a sort of general thing, you know, freedom and all the rest of it. No, it isn't. It's because he knows that the people he represents, they are going to break the law whatever. The only time the law is going to be enforced is when you've got a working class, ethnic, white Brit holding up a poster saying the police are scum. Yep. That is going to get enforced. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.